everyone. Welcome to Women Seeking Wholeness. This is Cherie Burton. How do you find your soul tribe? And we're going to talk about what that actually means, how you find kind of your friend group. You could have multiple groups, but it's kind of about rediscovering your interests and activities and friendship style, kind of phasing out of COVID and coming out of this loneliness and disconnection epidemic. And we talk about moving your life into divine order, which includes not just defining yourself by all the roles you play in your life, but really your soul needs. And a lot of us just have this deep desire to be seen. And so as women, we need that relationally to create these empowering friendship circles. So my guest is Brenda Ridgely. She's an author, speaker, and girlfriend guru who loves helping women connect, find success, and discover joy through friendship. Her book, Lady in the Tribe, is about how to do such a thing. And speaking about tribes, you guys know that we have an incredible community we're building and lots of fun stuff coming up with Stand, Speak, Shine. You can go to standspeakshine.com and get on the waiting list for our upcoming Stand, Speak, Shine course getting ready to launch here any day, as well as follow us on Instagram at cherie.burton and ask to join our private Facebook group, Women Seeking Wholeness. Brenda, welcome to Women Seeking Wholeness.
Cherie, thank you so much for having me. I've been really excited about meeting you and being on your show.
Oh, good. Well, your book is so timely right now, Lady and the Tribe. What's the byline there?
It's how to create empowering friendship circles.
So we're kind of coming out of this whole planetary shakeup of isolation, and that's bred a lot of disconnection with a lot of women who were, as women, we're so relational. We'll get to that in a minute. But what are you seeing? You're calling it a loneliness epidemic right now.
It really is. And it's an epidemic that is silent and no one even knows that that is what they are experiencing. If a lot of women in particular that are the ones that, that I'm reaching out to, you find yourself at a point in life where, hey, I have a great life. I have, my kids are happy and healthy. I have a wonderful husband or partner. I have a beautiful home. I have a couple of awesome snuggle pups. I am blessed. Why do I feel like something is missing? And what it is loneliness of being really known at a deeper level by people outside of the group that need you.
Oh,
people that don't need something from you.
Mm-hmm.
We lack those kinds of deep connections with other women.
Mm. And there can be this subtle, I don't want to call it completely competition, maybe comparisonitis is the best way to phrase that. But I think a lot of women haven't quite found their soul tribe or their group because there's a lot of one-upmanship or comparison, and it can create feelings of inadequacy that doesn't open it to vulnerability.
And I'm not sure when this competitive stuff with women came about. I do not believe that we, by nature, are competitive. Mm-hmm. We are collaborators and encouragers. And I have to wonder, and I'm actually doing some research on this right now, about the whole women's movement, as wonderful and important as it was, what it did to us entering a man's world and having to compete like a man to get ahead. And I think it did some damage, and we are still seeing the residual of that, of trying, of being competitive with each other, when really we will get much further by encouraging and lifting each other up.
Yeah, I think where it came in, if I had to guess, was just that it is a patriarchal culture. It's masculine driven. The masculine idealism is put into all of our structures and systems, or it has been to this point. And so we're operating from that very dense, physical, quantifiable paradigm where everything has a marker for qualification. And so it precludes us from just being able to all come to the table and have that collaboration that you're talking about. But I love that you used that word collaboration. Mm-hmm. When I interviewed Maureen Murdoch, who wrote The Heroine's Journey, it was basically written 30 years ago. She's amazing. But she said, if I could choose one word that delineates the authentic feminist movement, it's collaboration.
So true. I absolutely agree with that. I've not read that book, but I'm adding it to my list right now.
It's great. We're all on a heroine's journey or a hero's journey, trying to integrate the feminine and the masculine. I think that obviously we need both, but I mean, to this point, cultures have valued the masculine paradigm of very overt, measurable, logical, black, white. And women, our brains aren't that way. You talk about we're being natural nurturers, and I want to move into, because as nurturers, that's why we want to collaborate. That's as with our natural, you call it motherly instinct or whatever, we have this phenomenological response that's very different than the go-to masculine in terms of how we intuitively move in and out of our domains in life. So do you want to speak to that a little bit about how we can get lost? Because there's a shadow side to every gift that we naturally embody.
That is a nice way of putting it, for sure. Absolutely. So yeah, as women, we naturally want to be of service. We want to help. We want to encourage others and lift them up. And sometimes we forget to fill our own tank so that we can do that better. And we dive all into our roles. When I was in college and stuff, I had lots of friends, lots of activities, lots of interests, sports, you name it. And all of those things brought me joy. But as I took on new roles in life, and this is really on me, and I think it's not like anyone asked me to do it or, it was expected in any way. But when you become a wife, well, now you have this role that you want to be the best wife that you can be. And so you let go a little bit of this and that, that's, other things that bring you joy that outside of that. And then along the way, you have children, and boy, that's a game changer, right? You're all in. If you're like me, I went all in. And I, at one point, even said to people that my sole purpose in life was to raise these children to be contributors and make a difference and be happy and healthy. And I felt like I was almost done with my own stuff at that point. I mean, I really remember feeling that way. And so it was all about them. My sports became their sports, and my girl dates, friendship stuff became their play dates. And really, it can be 5-10 years where you just don't do anything for yourself. And that takes a toll on you. You don't really feel it or see it because, there's joy in your life. Your family absolutely brings you joy.
It can be a comfort zone almost that you think it's the ideal because you feel good and peaceful and comfortable. So you're not going deep. Yeah, you settle. Yes. You just don't go deep.
You settle into that role. And then, even a career woman in a man's world trying to make it and beat other people and be successful and earn an income, especially single women, trying to support themselves. You're all in on that. You're taking calls morning, noon, and night and Sundays, and and you let go of the things that really you identify with and bring you joy. And in particular, friends with other women. Mm-hmm. So there comes a point in time when you just feel empty and lonely. Yeah.
And because as women, we are so relational, we plug all of our value into our roles. And I started teaching workshops, about 20 years ago, I guess it's been now, on something called divine order. And I know divine order is a term that people use for different things, but for my purposes, it was role delineation, like the order of role priority for women. So it became God, self, family, humanity, earth, meaning, and you can even say that there's a God, I am self. So God and self are very, close, but for me, it was like, I am first a woman. I'm not somebody's daughter first. Like that was kind of the patriarchy in the religious piece of it, was I'm always in this perpetual daughterhood. and I can't claim my inner authority or sovereignty as just a woman. And meaning that doesn't diminish God in my life or say that I'm not spiritual enough because I'm not this, I'm not a daughter first. Actually, I am the I am with yes. God. And so that was a real, I would say I was in my like mid to late 40s before I really I know you and I are about the same age, but when I really actually put it together, it's like, that's not wrong. I'm not being a heretic for climbing into, my sovereign womanhood.
No, it's not selfish at all to invest in yourself and become the strong woman and the strong contributor and become all that you were put here to be. It's not just about service. You have to invest in yourself before you can give it back.
Yeah. And I think that's true in any relationship. I have a beautiful tribe of women. I have several, actually. There's a couple that I'm really, really vulnerable with. And one is, we call ourselves the Magdalene sisters, we just meet here locally, sometimes in my friend's teepee that she has in her yard, sometimes at another person's house. We keep, we're in a Telegram group together, and it's just been so interesting. We share information, but when we actually meet, we get really real and vulnerable with each other. And we're all fascinated by the Magdalene path and what that means for us historically at this time, and how we're all coming into our own knowing and sovereignty. And we're sort of galvanizing each other against some of the cultural voices that don't want us to do that. And it's been so amazing. I just want to share this one experience. So a lot of my listeners know this, but my husband and I almost got divorced a few years ago, and we were separated for almost a year. And as I was, we'd been married 25 years at that point, and 5 children. And so this close group of sisters, they held this healing circle. We don't even really know what we call it, but just a circle of them. It ended up being 12 women, which was beautiful. And they all gathered, and I sort of sat in the middle of this circle, and they each gave me some kind of a gift, whether it was, one woman had a beautiful rock that she got from the Sea of Galilee. And one woman gave me this beautiful essential oil blend. And another woman did a native dance from Hawaii, her homeland, about mothering. And somebody shared a poem, and it was and I'm just in the middle, like so humbled and just receiving, because I'm so used to, to that point, you're so used to giving and but I just had to sit there and receive. And all I could do was just cry. And then at the end, they all gathered around me, and I laid in the circle, and they all just kind of either they touched my leg or my feet or my head or my shoulders or my belly, or they just held space while one of the sisters, a really good friend of mine, Katie, gave me a blessing. It wasn't like a traditional blessing in the religious sense of the word. It was a prayer over me and what I was feeling. And I have to tell you, or what I was going through. And I have to tell you, that sustained me for the longest time. It still does, and of course I'm crying, I'm shaking. And I was just able to be open and receive and not feel like I have to show up and be the one with the solutions or helping another. It was just a time for me very humbly to be on the receiving end of these beautiful gifts. So I created a mini little altar of what they gave me and just put it in a box. And whenever I feel like I need to revisit that time, I will go and look at it. And it feels
that is a awesome ritual that they gifted you. And, I love that. Isn't it so hard to know that as women, it's so hard for us to receive at that level, and how emotional it is, but you welcomed it and it's changed your life. So
yeah. And I was able to return the favor for some of the other women later, if they were going through something. And so when you talk about, tribes, it's your actual true tribe. You said there was a quality, how do you know it's you're very, what did you say? It's either a huge spark. Yes. It's you're hugely drawn to it. You can be vulnerable and real, and you don't have to show up as the one doing the leading or the fixing. You're all on the same playing field.
Yes, it's someone who knows you that doesn't need something from you. Again, it's someone who knows you at the deepest levels, and you're not just getting together and sharing all the niceties, that the surface level social media, all that good stuff. Of course, that's there too, and it has a time and place. It's not a bad thing, but it's the relationships you've invested in. You've made time for them. They've made time for you, and you communicate at a confidant level where you can tell them the nitty-gritty, deep down, darkest parts of your life and not feel judged in any way, and only feel like you have support. And even if it's just, I'm here with you, not fixing it for you,
just listening,
just listening and not judging, and loving you along the way.
Oh, that's so beautiful. So how does one, and maybe you talk about this in your book, but because I remember having the feeling like, oh, more people need to be doing this for people who are in crisis or who just need fed spiritually, emotionally, physically, socially. So let's just say somebody listening to this is like, I want to start doing that. I want to start my own tribe. How, and by this, we're not saying start a business. By this, like we're saying, it's not a mastermind. It's literally a soul feeding group where, like you said, there's just these boundaries of containment with judgment or fixing or what have you, is just showing up to heal, basically, to help each other grow and help each other up level, give each other perspective. How did you maybe go about doing that? What are some practical ways that somebody just gets that going for themselves?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was honestly about, 6-7 years ago when I was going through this, who am I without my roles? I'd let everything go and let all my relationships go. I wasn't starting at zero because I still had connections, and I still had old friends that I hadn't, gone deep with in a long time, but we've kept touch. So, if you're in that situation and you have, you feel like you just don't have the depth in the relationship, you don't feel seen, heard, and known by others, the first step is, who do you already know, maybe that you have some history with, that you have, I don't want to say neglected, but the relationship itself has been neglected for some time, and you really do love and value them, but you just you really don't know what's going on in each other's lives really anymore. Well, reaching out and reconnecting with those folks first, that would be my first step. And dedicating some time, attention, and enthusiasm to that relationship, one-on-one, coffee, lunch, happy hours, whatever it takes. It's not like you can go all in. With some friendships, you might be able to go right to that vulnerable spot that you had 10, 15 years ago with, and rekindle that. But otherwise, you need to take it gradually in steps. Otherwise, too much information. You kind of have to do it together in steps of just letting people in on the stuff that you're not posting out there on social media. It's your real life. And, having other people know you in that way. So first step is people you know already.
And I would say, don't put it, like you said, don't put it out there. You wouldn't post like, I'm getting ready to put a tribe together, because then if you don't end up including everyone, there can be hurt feelings, and you're not trying to be like an elitist thing. It's just, no, I would say start with a theme. Like for us, it was Mary Magdalene. It was her archetype, her actual historical figure, the sacred texts that were missing, that were not canonized in the Bible. Like we really started with this whole empowerment using Mary Magdalene as kind of the focus. So I would say choose people whose interest, like if you're trying to use a specific theme or a specific figure who represents, or even if it's a myth or archetype that represents what you're trying to heal or what you need to be empowered with.
Right.
Would you say that's important?
That would be a one tribe for you. You could have multiple tribes. So for me, and in as I'm laying it out as your tribe, it's not cliquey in any way. And in fact, my tribe is about 6 of us, including myself. My tribe, it's not like a unit. My best friend Jane, who is in my tribe, and my best friend Michelle, they have their own tribes. I'm part of their tribe. but they have their own go-to people for different roles. It's really, you do want to look for people who have interests that you share for sure. And maybe, for example, Michelle's my hiking friend. My husband's too busy and doesn't love hiking. He'll do it with me once in a while, but that's an area of my life I'd really like to expand on. I'd like to do the Colorado Trail and do a lot of intense hikes. So Michelle's my go-to for that. So beyond all of our other friendship roles that we have, she's fits that adventure role.
Yeah. The adventure, you have like your adventure group, and you have your
and a soul and someone who is your soul seraph, when you really need some spiritual guidance, or someone who just listens to you. So you have these pieces.
And people do like book clubs or meetup groups. Yes. I think it's a brilliant way to sort of say, I want to be your friend in a non-confrontational, needy way. Right. If you want to make more friends, this is a great way to do that. Of course, you don't want to even, there could be, mixed gender groups as well. You don't have to just make it about women, but there's something about the vulnerability with women where you open up more and share more. What have you seen with that? Have you ever gone into like other groups with men or?
Well, I absolutely have lots. When I was in college, I had more guy friends than girlfriends. I think we all go through that phase at some point in time, and they are just different. And depending on where you are in your life and what your needs are and what you're trying to do, I don't think there's anything that can really replace women connecting with women. We're a different breed, literally. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a place for men to enter the equation at some point. I want to share also that if you don't have those distant relationships, or even anyone that you can even think of, because there are people out there that are starting from zero. I personally know some that started from zero. You need to get out there. You're not going to find new friends, binge watching Netflix or surfing on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, actually that exacerbates the loneliness because it's a false sense of connection. I'm not saying you can't connect in powerful ways on social media, but it's the scrolling that can be so incredibly alienating and build kind of a separateness mentality within you. You just feel so separate from seeing all the lovelies out there.
Right. And when you're posting only positive, you feel like an imposter too, because I'm putting out all this great stuff and it's not really what my life looks like. And then other people are looking at it and they go, look at her life, and I feel inadequate. Right. Because my life's not like that. So yes, but you can use social media though, to make those connections. If someone you see is posting something you're interested in, but it takes you reaching out, being the leader of your own tribe, which is courageous.
It's an act of vulnerability and courage. I do think when coming back to what we started the discussion with, where women aren't competitive and women aren't, or at least by nature, we're not super competitive. We're more collaborative. But I think that's the danger of social media is we are competitive and comparing ourselves. And that's not the same as like a group share, open tribal connection. It's not, I see you, I really see you. I see past the exterior. I see past the facades and the masks and Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Social media is very superficial, and we have come as a society to rely on that so much. And we think, I have lots of friends. I have 3,000 Facebook friends and I have so many followers. And you think, so that's why it's such a disconnect that loneliness is in the equation at all. Yeah. One more thing I really want to touch on is you have a chapter in your book about the tree. Do you want to talk a little bit about that symbology?
Yes. So I guess like you, I believe that, we can be represented as a tree, and the seed that is planted is our heritage, our terroir, our background, our nutrients, everything that starts our life, and then the roots that kind of build below us, anchor us into our life and anchor us with who we are and where we belong and what our history is.
Yeah. Like wherever we've been planted, literally like the universe just seeded us somewhere.
Yes.
Said, grow here.
Yeah. Grow here. Yeah, and then the trunk becomes the embodiment of our being. And I believe that our branches that extend and lift and support are our relationships, our friendships that not only help us when we're down and out and need support, but take us to higher levels, to who are there for you when you have things to celebrate. Your tribe's there to cheer you on in the highest of highs, but also hold you up when you're in your lowest of lows. And then the foliage, the beautiful, beautiful green or yellow or leaves that come out is your life. Living your best life. That's
all the fruits of
everything from the seed on up through those branches. But those branches are so important.
Well, where can people find this lovely book, Lady in the Tribe, Brenda?
Okay, so I'm available on all online sellers. I mean, everything that I know of is out there on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Through my website, brendaridgely.com. It can be found there as well.
Okay, well, we'll have some links in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. And just remember, you are so much more than the roles you play. You are a divine being, no matter who you show up for, who you don't show up for. And the way that we can really land this truth into our bodies is through forming community. Women do learn through community. We're very relational, we're very connected, and we see the whole picture. So being seen by others is super powerful. We're all kind of feeling the same things, honestly. We're sometimes feeling lonely. We sometimes feel like something's missing, and we feel guilty about that because we have so many beautiful gifts in our lives and so much to be grateful for. And so I hope that you will consider joining our powerful Stand, Speak, Shine tribe, the upcoming Stand, Speak, Shine course. And we're going to be doing a lot with that community. For those who are enrolled in the course, learning the 12 feminine embodiment principles, I'm super excited about the direction that's heading. So thank you for listening. I hope you have a glorious week. We'll talk to you next time on Women Seeking Wholeness.